right, so we shall continue with the imperfect tense, and then we shall move to the second aorist. So you're familiar with the first aorist, so the knowledge is to keep building on the previous one. So now, what are we talking about when we talk about the imperfect, active, indicative, uh, verb form, and the second aorist is one is a simple past, that is the aorist, and the imperfect is actually talks about it's an expression, or we use the imperfect to talk about a past action continuing in the past time, but not perfected or completed. So that's the idea of the imperfect tense. But the idea of the aorist tense is that it just talks about the past in a simple reporting form. For example, I might say in the imperfect tense, I might say I was teaching, or I used to teach. But in the aorist, I will just say I taught. So it's just reporting. I'm not telling you the process, whether it started in the past and continued and stopped. I am not interested in that in the aorist tense. But in the perfect, in the imperfect tense, the interest is there that the action started in the past and continued, but not completed. So this concept will be more clarified as you continue building on your Greek knowledge, especially maybe when you are in your Greek, study of maybe year 2, where you will do a lot of exegetical ideas will be introduced to you. So now, uh, the imperfect indicative active form. So now we have to relate things, okay? Because it is knowledge. Like the present tense, the imperfect tense has no sign of tense, and so room number 3 is unoccupied. So the idea of the room theory, room 1, room 2, room 3, and room 4. So I have emphasized that whenever you think of the Greek tense or Greek verb, the primary things that should come to your mind uh, uh, are the stem, sign of tense, ending, and of course the prefix, maybe the multiplication in the case of the perfect tense, and the augment in the case of the aorist and the imperfect that which are going to look at it in a short while. So now, what do we mean by the sign of tense? You remember, it's actually it actually occupies room number 3, but in the case of the imperfect tense and in the case of the present tense, room 3 is empty, or it is unoccupied. Why? Because they don't have it. Now, like the aorist tense, the imperfect tense has an augment. And by now, the idea of augment is clear for you. So, what does this augment does there? This augment, the prefix, the epsilon that is added to the word to signal or characterize or indicate it is a past tense. So room number 1 will have the epsilon. Now, for the verbs that begin with a consonant, an epsilon will not have a problem. But if we have vowels beginning a word, then the rule that requires us to lengthen will apply. So here's the explanation that we have already looked at it in our first aorist lesson. So in the first aorist lesson, you remember that the first aorist tense forms, if they are starting with a vowel, the vowel will be lengthened to the corresponding long vowel. For example, if the vowel begins with an alpha, then the alpha will be lengthened to an eta, or epsilon will be lengthened to an eta, or omicron will be lengthened to uh, omega. So look at this one. So this is the word from Mark 14:55, kai uk ureskon. So here is the word, right? Uresco. Okay. So you see it is an epsilon. It begins with an epsilon. Uresco. I find. So what happened to change it to the aorist? You have to add the epsilon here, but instead of the adding the epsilon, since it has already started with a vowel, the rule says you just need to lengthen this one. So look at this one. See? Eurescon. So, yep. Don't forget the ending. Right. Then we have another example here. You remember this um, this word in the vocabulary, oikodomeo, I build. Oikodomeo, I build. So what happens here is when you change it to either imperfect or aorist, what happens is you don't have to add the epsilon and then read the omicron here. The rule tells you to lengthen the omicron to what? To omega, to its long vowel. But there is another addition to it. Since you have oi here, you have the iota. So what happens? Once you lengthen the omicron to the long vowel omega, then you just need to write the iota as a super subscript. Look the result here. Oikodomeo. So look at the omega and then the iota subscript under it. So this is what we mean by the rule. So here we go. So like the present tense, the imperfect has no sign of tense. There is no sigma, or like the perfect tense, there is no kappa as a sign of tense. And again, the rule that has applied to the aorist tense, the first aorist tense, the rule that requires you to do the lengthening of the vowels if the word starts with one of the vowels, applies to the imperfect. And another concept concerning the imperfect is that it also uh, 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 applies the rule for the compound for the compound verbs. For example, what did we say? If a verb is a compound, then the augment will be positioned in between the preposition and the simple verb. For example, you have pateo. So you have peri, the preposition, and pateon here. So do you see this augment here, the epsilon? So so that's what we mean. Peri pateon. So instead of putting it iperi pateo, you will have peri pateon.